Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. I've got a Thanksgiving feast of unboxing guitars for you guys. Oh man, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 guitars I purchased for our Thanksgiving special this year. Let's go ahead and crack into these things. So you might have noticed that there was this big announcement. Well, honestly, it wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. That Gibson has this new shop on Reverb where they're going to be selling off some of their historic prototypes, as well as some like artist used guitars like they put in their demo videos and stuff. And that was officially released, I think, about 2 days ago on Tuesday. However, I just happened to catch that shop on their soft release on the Friday before that. Like, it was just in prototype phases. They didn't think anything was going to sell. They were just making sure all the listings were working. And I saw all this stuff and it's like, oh man, original collection prototypes? Yes, please. People are gonna attack these things. But I was kind of dwelling on it. Should I buy some of these or should I not? Should I buy every single one and just be a greedy guy? But in my deliberating, one of them sold and it's like, no, these must be mine. So I bought out the entire shop. And then within about 20 minutes, I'm getting a call. It's Cesar, you know, the #2 guy at Gibson. He's like, hey, could you just not talk about those until at least Tuesday, our official announcement? It's like, yeah, I think that's fair enough. But I asked him, would you rather I not buy these? And he's like, no, you're fine. You're fine to buy these. And it's like, great, because I would really love to do this as my Thanksgiving special. Just a whole bunch of stuff. So what we've got here are the original collection prototypes. Now on Tuesday, they actually ended up releasing 40 additional ones. That kind of made me a little bit sad. But what I've done here is I decided not to buy out the entire shop. I don't want to be that guy that buys everything. But I wanted a complete set of the original collection. And so far, I've got that, except for one SG. And it's only because they haven't listed it. And I wanted one of each color. So what is our first one that we get to check out today? Oh. That looks strange. Is that what all of these look like? So this is one of the original collections that I actually have not had before. This is the Les Paul Jr. We did that Lucas Nelson signature, but what's with the smoky gray finish? I thought these original collection ones had like a really yellow center. I wonder if that's special for this particular prototype. I'll have to do some more comparisons, or maybe somebody that owns an original collection junior can fill me in on that. But the back's looking nice on this. We even got the protective little film there. We've got some nice mahogany wood grain on this. I mean, nothing really to write home about except for this kind of cool finish. That is not what I was expecting. But what makes these things ultimately special, what I would say collectible, is they actually marked them prototypes back here. Gibson USA prototypes, you don't quite see those as often as the custom shop ones. And something else that tells you it's an early one is our serial number. It dates to the 25th day of 2019. And in my opinion, the original collection is like one of the most iconic things to happen at a Gibson history in a long time. I mean, I'm mainly a used guitar dealer, right? I like to talk about the used and vintage stuff. I love the history behind them. But as far as like modern day stuff, I can't suggest the original collection enough. I think they're fantastic deals for the price. They really are the best guitars Gibson has made in quite a while. Because before this, I would just suggest like an early 2000s Les Paul standard, but now I say, hey, you can either go for that or, honestly, these new 50s, 60s standards, they're not too bad. But I was curious what kind of a COA these things might come with. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like anything fancy, but we do get a repair and restoration thing. And you'll notice all these boxes are actually special. They say Gibson Repair and Restoration. So they must have slightly refurbished these at one point in time. But I was hoping there'd be like a little thing that says, hey, thank you for supporting our Reverb shop. This is me, Cesar, signing this, as well as Curly, the CEO. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like any fancy case candy like that, unless it's in here. Nope. But we do get the multi-tool. I guess that's kind of cool. Move on to our next one here. What goodies do I have this time? Remember, this isn't all of them. I actually had to pick some of them up on Tuesday, so they will be in, like, maybe the next unboxing episode. Maybe I'll space these things out. I know new guitars aren't for everybody, but I like to see the differences between the prototypes and what they eventually came out with. One thing I'm noticing about these repair and restoration boxes is they don't have that fold-in tab. These are just the old staple style. However, I think Gibson kind of underpriced these things because they sold each of these at retail value. So like that Les Paul Jr., I think those are, what, $14.99? And like the standards were $2,500. But as soon as the shop sells out, you can guarantee these things are going to start going up in prices. These are great investments. So that's why I kind of wanted a complete set. And so far, as to what they've listed, there's only been one available complete set if you wanted one in every single color. Outside of one of the SGs, they have not listed the sideways vibrola one yet. So I'm kind of keeping my eye out for that one. And then I'm sure we'll see modern prototypes later on. But this one, hey, I guess I'm getting lucky here. We're going up. So we get the Junior and now we get the Special. The two that I did not review. You know, this TV yellow finish is not half bad. It's a little bit bright in my opinion, but honestly, I haven't actually seen an original TV Special in person. But I think for a outside the custom shop type guitar, this is looking pretty cool. I'm not seeing any necessarily special features on this one that only the prototype had. But again, just like that last one, it gets a little prototype stamp up there. I wish they would have done something a little bit more special than just that. I love the old 80s prototype stamps. I say that every time we get a modern day prototype, but it is true. Those are gorgeous. But these guys, you know, I guess I was expecting the neck to be a little bit chunkier. I mean, this is not bad by any means. It's a beefy neck, but it's not quite beefy. But uh-oh. We do get a little bit of finish checking right there, right from the top of the nut. But I like the description for some of these listings. Like, they have to tell you that it's got a little bit of chewing marks on the binding and stuff. So it's kind of cool to see that, you know, Gibson had to say that, yes, there are some issues on these guitars. They were prototypes. Remember that. Prototypes. And so far, it appears that there were maybe anywhere between 2 to 4 prototypes for each model. But something else that they're planning with this whole shop that Cesar was telling me, I don't know how much he wants me to tell you and how much I'm not actually supposed to share, like maybe that was privileged information, but apparently they had a bunch of like old guitars, like from 2015-ish, that would have what people would consider undesirable specs. So they took them and they're like modifying them. He mentioned something like refinishing, maybe putting different parts on. So I think that Reverb shop is definitely worth, you know, watching within your feed, because who knows what they're gonna list. And if it's all at just regular retail prices, I don't think their price is that bad. But these are definitely like more so collector's guitars rather than a player's instrument, unless you just want to play something special. There are some trolls on the Instagram announcement of this saying, oh, you guys are selling refurbished guitars, blemished guitars for brand new. Shame on you, Gibson. That's a person who doesn't understand the guitar collector mentality. And I get it. There's different types of guitar people. There's some guitar guys that are like, okay, I'm mainly a collector. I buy guitars because I enjoy looking at them, learning the history, things like that. And that's pretty much the category I fall in. We still enjoy playing the guitars, but we like owning the rare stuff. And then there's people that like, I don't care about the history. I don't care about any of this stuff. I just want a nice playing guitar. I don't fall into that category, so something like this more so speaks to me. This guy looks like one of the SGs. I guess I could be wrong. Hey, it's the original. Another one that I have not reviewed on the show was the stop bar tailpiece variety. I did both of the vibrolas because that was big news when those things came out, and I just saw it as kind of redundant to do the stop bar tailpiece review. But this is a nice guitar. I remember enjoying those instruments, just not really liking the vibrolas on them. So if you want absolute tuning stability, I would always suggest one of these. So this has got kind of a light color to it. I wouldn't say it's my favorite looking example I've ever seen, but it's got some nice shine to it. And this one was made the 22nd day of 2019. Also stamped a little prototype there. Doesn't look like we have any finish damage on this one or anything. I think these guys brand new are like $17.99, something like that. It's kind of expensive for an SG. Honestly, on these guys, they're nice, but I think the older used SGs in the 61 style are a much better value. Like, you can get an original 80s one. I like those guys. But if you need something brand new, I guess it is an option for you. But as far as value goes, probably not your best bet to buy one of the brand new SGs. The juniors, they're kind of cool in the way that they're finished. The specials, they're unique because Gibson hasn't really done a nice TV yellow in a while. So even though those things are, you know, just as expensive as this, they're a little bit more unique and they diversify themselves as compared to what's on the used market already. I guess you could get a Les Paul Jr. for a lot cheaper than the brand new ones, though. But sometimes they'll have a satin finish or they'll have some other kind of weird finish. But continuing on our feast, I guess you could also say this is like a Christmas Day type thing. But I've got a different video planned for Christmas this year. So I've had a few stories kind of withholding from you guys. I mean, like, we finally finished up the Aldo Nova yesterday. So make sure you check out that video. It featured Aldo. It also featured some words from Rick Nielsen of Cheap Trick. Once again, a huge shout out to those guys. Thank you for helping make that video possible. But there's something else that, you know, that one's been held back for like 3 or 4 years. That whole story of a big event in my life that we just happened to get that guitar back this year. Yeah, maybe I'll release that one Christmas week. Because that was actually the video I started doing before I was like, you know what, I should probably do the Aldo Nova first. Oh, and it pained me so much when I realized I missed his birthday. So happy birthday, Mr. Nova. I know we're a couple of weeks late here. Had I had known, I would have just done the review and demo on that day. But unfortunately, I'm a bad friend. I'm sorry, Aldo. But inside here, I'm guessing we've got another SG. I guess we've only got 4 latches. Not another one of these. They look so cool, but tuning stability, not my favorite. Now this one, the fretboard looks a little bit dry. I might have to condition that. Wonder if they did anything. Oh, already heard it go ping, ping, ping. But what I really liked about this particular example is the wood grain lines right here. So this was an example I probably would have bought anyways. That was nice. The day that I purchased on Tuesday, I actually got to be picky because there were a few multiples out there. So I could just choose the nicest of the nice examples. So it just kind of works out. But this one, ooh, it's got some dancing to it. But there's like this wood figuring line right there that always stays, you know, constant. That's interesting. And this one must have been like hung up for a long time. Something like that. You can kind of see like a wire impression. This one was made on the 28th day of the year, but I think this is just a really nice looking example itself. So kind of a cool little prototype here as well. I really like the figuring on the headstock. Like, it doesn't necessarily move, but it kind of looks skeleton-like. It's kind of hard to see in the GoPro camera because it kind of comes out as washed out. Looks like we get all the case candy and, ooh, made in Canada case. I think when these things came out, they were the made in China cases, so maybe that's something that changed. I noticed Gibson kind of stopped using those. Well, maybe it's because of my suggestions, or, you know, with everything that happened in 2020, they had to go other locations. But this is our halfway point. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. Maybe you're watching this while you're eating a Thanksgiving dinner. I know, it's kind of sad this year. Most of my family's parties have just been canceled, you know, out of the safety of everyone. I'm pretty well quarantined within my house anyways. I mean, even if I did get sick, it wouldn't really affect anybody. But thankfully, my family, we've been pretty good. I mean, we've had some colds occasionally. You might have heard my voice change a bit, but no official diagnosis of bad stuff. But my county has been getting pretty bad lately, so we like to play it safe. But ooh, I think we're breaking into Les Paul territory now. Which is where things get interesting because we get things like flame maple tops. So let's open this guy up. Oh, it's a gold top. Okay, so we just unboxed one of these not too long ago. I ended up selling it to somebody rather cheaply because I knew this thing would be coming in. But I don't think I plan on reselling these individually. I think these will bring more as a complete set. I mean, who wouldn't want to buy a complete collection of the originals? The original collections, you know, the prototypes and everything. So we'll just kind of skim over this one real quick. You know, those juniors have a bigger neck than the 50s standards? What? That's crazy. Yeah, that definitely felt a little bit chunkier in my opinion, and I always thought these things had a pretty hefty sized neck. I mean, not gigantic by any means, but that junior special thing definitely has quite the neck profile on it, and I think that's what makes them different enough from everything else. But this is like the poor man's R6. Ooh, that's a nice neck. Do you guys see that? Cool. It's always fun because you can't necessarily see that in photos, but this one, that's nice figuring. And once again, our prototype stamp there. This one was made the 22nd day of the year, but everything else looks pretty good on it. Very nice. So I guess if you're interested in pre-ordering the whole collection here, you can contact me either on my Facebook page or just through my email. You can find all that stuff in the description. But here we go, 4 more guitars. Can you guys survive this unboxing? There's definitely more guitars than I've ever had to unbox at one time. Normally I spread these into like 3 or 4 guitars each episode. So I guess I'm glad I'm at least splitting this one up into 2. So I think I've got, what, 5 more of these things coming tomorrow? But so far, the pack jobs have been pretty okay. I think there's only one more gold top, but I'm not sure if that was this shipment or not. Oh. Wow. So I think this is the Iced Tea 60s. Oh, wow. You know I've reviewed this model before, but actually having, you know, every single model here, I'm feeling and touching them, you can really notice the differences. Like that 60s neck is really slim in comparison to those 50s that we've just been talking about. That's like a historic top on this one. That is nice. So I don't think these were necessarily NAMM show display pieces. Those must have been after the prototypes. Like, prototypes are, okay, so we made some mistakes here. Here's how we could make it better. Or hey, I think this is good enough. Let's go ahead and move these into production. Then like the first production units are probably the ones that they take to NAMM. Oh. If only the neck had some sort of nice figuring, because this back is fantastic. This top is awesome. It even has a little bit of bird's eye right here, here, and right there. This is just an absolute killer one. So 60s Iced Tea, if I've got the colors right here. This was made the 21st day of 2019. And this is a very nice case again. Yeah, made in Canada. Cool. It's nice that they include all these multi-tools. And we're on to the final 3 here. Every single tag on the top of these tells me what's in it, but I try not to look at it. Like, just look away, because I like to be surprised with what it is, because if I know what it is, it's not quite as fun. This one looks like another one of the 50-60 standards. I mean, I'm actually going to have one of each color, and we can, like, you know, look at them side by side. My only reservation about all this is I do not have a big enough of a room that looks nice that I can, you know, set them all on stands or anything. I only have 3 of those Gibson stands. I would need to get a lot more. So hey, Zither, you want to hit me up and we can get some nice stands. I would love one that just says Trogly on it. Okay, this one's called Bourbon Burst. So this is kind of like that reissue that we unboxed, I think, last episode, but in the Gibson USA format. So yes, this is definitely that thin 60s neck. Made the 24th day of 2019, but what I'm noticing about this guitar, it's chunky. Like, you feel the weight in the body. Like, if I picked this up at a shop, probably would put it straight back down and say, that's a little bit too chunky. You know, I like the modern day guitars that are a little bit more lighter weight, but this is the first time that they started doing the non-weight relief. But what I do like about this one, it's really dense. Some people will like that. It's a two-piece back, but there's this eye formation right here. That's unique. That's like a unique little grain characteristic that'd make me go, okay, yes, I do want that example. The top on this one, not necessarily my favorite. I mean, it's pretty nice for a top, but it's not one that I would, you know, call up my buddies and say, hey, check out this top. It's kind of got a little bit of chevron going on. If you ever need a good way to remember which way is chevron and which way is reverse chevron, remember the V in the word chevron. The one that you want is the opposite. Chevron, with this one being V, you need to inverse that. This is what a chevron flame looks like. So it's pointing up. So you just got to remember it's the opposite of what you would think it is. So reverse chevron is when the flame goes in down like this. I'm not a big fan of chevron in general, but sometimes it looks okay. I don't know about you guys, I'm getting pretty full here. Our Thanksgiving feast of Gibson prototypes here. But inside here, surprise, surprise, another Les Paul. But what color will this one be? What kind of wood grain figuring? We will just have to find out. Inside this case sleeps. Oh, this is the Unburst. Gotta be honest, seeing it in person, nah, does nothing for me. It almost reminds me of the Latte Cream. Did they call it Latte Cream? Something Latte that they did in the early 2000s. Not quite as cool. I like that latte finish though because it's really rare. I mean, this isn't quite the same. But Unburst, not my favorite. Kind of a boring wood grain, to be honest. This one's a bit of a letdown, made on the 22nd day of the year. It's a nice guitar, but if it wasn't a prototype, I probably wouldn't have ordered this one. There was one Unburst that was actually looking pretty nice. I mean, this has a decent top, don't get me wrong, it's pretty nice. But I think there was one other one that was released on Tuesday that was a little bit nicer looking. But, I mean, this has an active top. It's not complete garbage. I mean, don't take me the wrong way. I'm just saying, when you're surrounded with special, ultra collectible guitars, if I had to weed one of them out, it might be this one. Just mainly based on the finish. It's not my favorite. But it does have a really nice dark fretboard, even though it doesn't look like it's been conditioned or anything. But now we move on to the very last one. So back to our previous topic that I was kind of talking about, I think unboxing 1 or 2. The way that Gibson has handled this announcement, I don't think they did enough for these. They should have did a YouTube video, because I even texted my Gibson guy. It's like, is that Instagram post really your big release that I had to wait for? He's like, yep, that's it. It's like, I was kind of hoping you'd do something super special. Because to be honest, I expected that shop to sell out instantly, and all the nice examples went pretty fast, but if you're interested in owning one of these prototypes, check that link in the description. It'll take you directly to Gibson's little thing. My motivation for telling you that is I am an affiliate partner of Reverb, so I'll get a little bit of commission if you buy from there. But I really do think if you want to make a long-term investment, a prototype 50s original collection, 60s original collection type guitar is definitely a good guitar from the modern era to invest in because it changed the whole landscape of it. But honestly, Gibson, I think you would have been much better off working with Reverb to do an auction system. When Reverb first launched, what, like 6, 7 plus years ago, they had auctions, at least for special occasions. So I think this would have been a great event for them to pump up and not tell us how many they're gonna do and just auction them off one at a time in this big event. I bet people would have paid, you know, upwards of $4,000 a pop for these prototypes instead of the $2,500 that they're asking for the standards and all the other stuff. I think they would have been surprised how much these could have went for. But You know, as a collector, I don't like to see a whole bunch of anything on the market at once, so I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that. But these will be interesting once the shop sells out of the original collection prototypes. Because it's at that point where it's like, okay, they're no longer available new, and that's when, you know, collector interest will start to rise. That's the way I view it anyways. I mean, is that the way it's going to play out? Not necessarily, but, you know, I'm pretty good with the pricing of guitars. Oh no! It's our first damaged guitar. Gibson. Gibson, I thought you guys knew better than to leave the toggle switch cap on. Aw, man, I'm just kind of pulling their chain. I'm sure they can send me a replacement. But this was the original one on the original prototype. Okay, yeah, you could probably re-glue it. So that's not too bad. Out of 9 guitars, we get 2 damaged. One, just a small switch tip. The other one, a little bit of finish checking, but this is light. Like, I wish I would have brought my scale in here. We could have weighed each of these. So this one has got a little bit of a chevron top, but I think I like this finish better. So this is infinitely more popular and nice to me. Well, I guess, to be honest, Tobacco Burst, as far as 70s Les Paul customs go, this would not technically be Tobacco Burst, because Tobacco has more of like a brown on the outside and then it moves to the yellow, whereas Vintage Sunburst has this dark color. It's kind of like that slash thing that he has going on his one. But a beautiful little prototype here. Let's check out our date of production, 22nd of 2019. We get a little bit of a stamp right there. And everything else appears to be okay. So hey, we did not do too bad on these. Not too bad at all. So, troglodytes, I won't even bore you with packing stuff up today. I think this was a long enough of a Thanksgiving feast video just to have all of these guitars. Oh, this one's got a little bit of a ding on the neck. Some of them do have that, but so I think this is like the only not perfect one in the collection. But anyways, thank you troglodytes for tuning in. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.